I want to tell you about a phrase I came across recently that genuinely stopped me in my tracks. It's two words, and it completely changed how I think about this stage of life. In Chinese medicine, there is no word for menopause as we know it in the West. Instead, they call it the second spring. And the idea behind those two words turns everything we've been told about this stage of life completely upside down, in the best possible way. Hi, I'm Linda, and welcome to More Time to Be. On this channel, I talk about making the most of your healthy years, the travel, the big decisions, the things we keep putting off, and what happens when we finally stop waiting. And today I want to talk about why that phrase, second spring, might be the most useful reframe any of us in our 50s could hear. First, let's be honest about what we've been told. In Western culture, menopause tends to get framed as a kind of ending. The language around it is all loss. Loss of fertility, loss of youth, loss of hormones. The conversation is mostly about managing symptoms and slowing decline. And look, the symptoms are real. I'm not going to pretend this transition is ever easy or comfortable. But the story we've been handed about what it means, I think we've been sold short. Because when your entire culture frames something as a decline, that's how you experience it. You're not just navigating a physical transition, you're doing it while being told, in 1,000 subtle ways, that your best years are behind you. And I don't think that's true. I don't think it's even close to true. In traditional Chinese medicine, a woman's life unfolds in 7-year cycles. Each cycle represents a shift in how energy moves through the body. Growth, fertility, maturation, and eventually transformation. At menopause, roughly the 7th cycle, something significant happens. The energy that once flowed outward, devoted to fertility and nurturing others, is redirected. It doesn't disappear. It moves inward, toward wisdom, toward creativity, toward the self. That is why they call it second spring. Not an ending, a redirection, a rebirth, just in a different form. And here's the part that genuinely stopped me, the thought I keep coming back to. All those years of energy we pour outward into raising children, into careers, into looking after everyone else, the Western story says that energy is spent, gone, that by this stage you're running on what's left. But what if it's the opposite? What if all that energy hasn't been drained away at all? What if it's been building up quietly all this time, waiting? And now, for the first time in decades, it's available to you, for you. Imagine that for a second. Not less energy as you get older, but more. Not a slow fade, but a well of it, finally yours to spend on the things you actually want. I don't know about you, but that completely changes how I feel about walking into this next stage. Now, while the second spring comes from a specifically female experience, I don't think the concept is only for women. If you're a partner watching this transition affects you too. The shift in energy in your relationship, your wife or partner finding a new sense of direction and purpose, that's worth understanding, maybe even worth celebrating together. And here's something I found equally fascinating. Chinese medicine has an equivalent concept for men. A similar shift, a similar redirection of energy, happening around the 8th 7-year cycle, so roughly the same stage of life. Which means if you're watching this as a couple in your 50s, You might both be in your second spring right now. I think there's something quietly beautiful about that. And honestly, when I look at my own experience, I think I've been feeling this without having the words for it. There's something happening alongside the physical changes that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. A kind of clarity, a shift in what matters, a growing impatience, not in an angry way, just a quiet, firm sense of, I don't want to waste any more time on things that don't matter to me. I used to think that was just getting older, a bit of wisdom maybe, slightly less patience for nonsense. But the second spring concept gives it a different meaning. It suggests that what feels like impatience might actually be that energy coming home, finally pointing at me and the things I care about after years of pointing everywhere else. This is where it connects to everything I talk about on this channel. The healthy years window is about recognizing that there is a specific period of life, for most of us watching this, that's right now, when we are still capable, still healthy, still free enough to do the things that genuinely matter to us. And for women, the second spring maps almost exactly onto that window. This is the season where the outward demands have eased. The kids are grown, the career is winding towards something more intentional. The relentless busyness of the middle years is starting to loosen its grip. But here's the thing, a well of energy doesn't do you much good if you don't decide what to point it at. The Western story leaves you drifting into this stage. The second spring asks you to walk into it on purpose. And that part, actually deciding deliberately what these years are for, is something you can plan. It's a lot of what I share on this channel, and it's the heart of a book I've been writing, which I'll tell you more about soon. So the question is, what do you do with it? Do you accept the Western story that this is the beginning of the end? Or do you take the second spring view that the energy is all still here, maybe more than ever, just waiting to be pointed somewhere new? That the most creative, purposeful, self-directed years of your life might actually be ahead of you. Western culture tells us this is the beginning of the end. Chinese medicine says it's the beginning of spring. I know which version I'd rather live by. Now, I'd love to know, does the second spring idea resonate with you? Have you felt that shift, that quiet sense of your energy turning back toward yourself? And if you're watching as a couple, I'd love to hear from both of you. Leave me a comment. These are the conversations I most want to have on this channel, and they help me know what to talk about next. If this has got you thinking about how you want to approach this stage of life, there's a link in the description to a free check-in quiz. It's a great place to start. Now, before you go, my next video is a big one for me. After a lot of quiet work, I'm finally going to share something I've been making, the thing a lot of these ideas have been building toward. I'll tell you all about it next time. I'd love you to be there. Thanks again for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.